Lindsay from My Crafty Plans. Welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome. Happy Planmas! Today we have a super fun Q&A video. So on my first video of Planmas, I invited you all to ask me anything and you delivered. I got so many amazing questions. I answered some of them on my planner lineup video, so if you haven't seen that already, definitely check it out. And then today I'm going to be answering some more of those questions, and then I'll also be answering the last couple of questions on my Planmas wrap video, so stay tuned for that. Just a few days away. But in case you don't know, I've had a new YouTube video up every single day since the beginning of the month, and I will through December 25th. So we are moving right along here, coming close to the end, and we are going to just have some fun today answering some of your questions, and specifically a lot of your planner and planning related questions. So I'm going to be face front for most of this. There's a couple of questions where I'm going to flip things over or show different parts of my office, fun stuff like that. So let's just dive right in. All right, let's start with something really difficult and very fun, and that's just what do I feel my biggest planning mistake was? One thing I will say about this is I've gotten really good at just letting things bounce off of me. It's okay if your page doesn't look perfect, if your handwriting got sloppy, if you repeatedly spelled the word incorrectly. Which, if you check out my goals video, which is either up the day before this or will be up the day after this video, I started writing my annual goals in my annual goals notebook by repeatedly misspelling the word rhythm, then having to use whiteout to cover it, and then misspelling it again. Little things like that, they just don't bother me anymore. I've gotten really good at working around little mistakes like that. I don't think that's what this question is asking. Overall, what do I feel my biggest planning mistake was? I think I've made some strides in this as well, but I'm definitely a gotta have them all kind of person when it comes to planning. I am always if I see a new planner, I want to try it out, I want to use it, it's my new favorite thing. I definitely return to the systems that work best, but I definitely get that planner envy when I see somebody having something that I've never seen before, I haven't tried before, and it makes me really, really want to try that out. For me, I think that's probably one of the most attractive parts of having this channel. It really gives me a place to play around with that, but I've always kind of been like that. I'm definitely always chasing that next big planner trend. So rapid fire here, I got 3 questions about specific planner brands and whether I'd ever used any of their products, and that was Cultivate That Matters, Hobonichi, and Golden Coil. And no, I have not ever used any of those products for very different reasons. Hobonichi, really easy answer. I'm not a huge fan of the Tomoe River paper. I think it's a really cool and intriguing layout, but I am a thick paper kind of gal, and that paper is so thin. I do have some products with Tomoe River paper, I have some notebooks and stuff, and it's just not my thing. That being said, I'm not super opposed to trying out the Hobonichi planners if that is something you all are really interested in seeing. The next one, Golden Coil, I have not used, but I have used a planner that is pretty similar, and that's the Agendio. The Golden Coil is one of those super customizable planners where you can get different things printed on the pages and really make a lot of changes to the layout. And I was in an Agendio planner for an entire year, I think 2 years ago. I have a lot of Plan With Me's in that planner. Again, that was a planner that I completely customized, and I do have a video on this channel walking through how I ordered that, how I set it up, and my thought process, and then also showing off the planner. So you can check that out if you're interested in seeing what I would do with a customizable planner. I really, really enjoyed using that a lot, and I found it very functional. This is also one of those things where the channel stuff kind of comes into play, because I think if I wasn't filming, that is a really super functional option, and again, I really love that. But from a filming perspective, it makes more sense for me to have multiple planners from different brands rather than one big all-in planner that's not necessarily even a layout that's easily accessible to other people. And the last one, for Cultivate That Matters, I'm just such a devotee of Moxie Life and the Moxie community. I also just feel that it's a brand that better aligns with my core values. And it also has given me so much, so I don't have any plans to switch goal planners anytime soon. Next, I have a question here that's how I handled having a newborn and planning. Well, this is a fun adventure. So when my first was born, I wasn't a #planner community planner. I was just a regular functional planner, and I definitely just used it lightly. At that point, my planning was a lot more in-depth for work because I was working full-time before I had a kid. And then when I was off from work on maternity leave, and I did have 6 months of maternity leave, I didn't really need that work stuff. So I just would, if I had an appointment, I would just put it in my planner or anything like that, notes and thoughts throughout the day. Then as my first got a little bit older is really when I discovered kind of planner Instagram and planner YouTube and things like that, and kind of grew that practice, but she wasn't necessarily a newborn anymore. So my first experience with having a newborn and planning was when my son was born. And actually at that point, I already had some of my own social media channels as well. I definitely took some time off from functional planning and went back to kind of like that bare bones system for functional planning. But what I did was I kept the memories, and then that's when I really started to get very into memory planning. I think that was like a really beautiful way to, one, document the things that were going on in our life, where it wasn't like, I don't need this functional space right now. I want to play with stickers and zone out for a little while, listen to a podcast or music or watch some TV while my hands are busy, like when the baby's napping or when I have the time to do this. And it was just like a really low pressure journaling, memory keeping type experience. And again, as things got more busy, I built up those functional planning systems. When my youngest was born, 2 weeks later is when the initial COVID lockdowns happened. So then like planning really became like a refuge and a sanity keeper for me, and I went all in. I started getting really functional in there, really just getting very detailed with our schedules, coming up with ideas, making pretty spreads, because one, it felt really good to have that creative outlet and that time like away and to myself, but two, it also felt really necessary. My favorite time to use my daily planner, to use an hourly planner, is not when I have a super busy day. If I have a super busy day and a million appointments and things like that, you know what? Calendar on my phone is fine. I'm going from one thing to the next. That is going to alert me better than my actual planner does, because it makes a noise that lets me know the next meeting is there. When I don't have anything and I need to block out my day, that is when planning becomes so essential, and when I get so detailed in my spreads. So that really just saved me and helped me a lot during the COVID lockdowns. Another thing I will say is like there is a really big difference between your first newborn and your third newborn in terms of the amount of like headspace and I don't want to say effort, because like I love all of my children and I take care of them and all of that, but it doesn't like occupy the same amount. Your third baby and the day-to-day minute-to-minute caring of that third baby is not the same amount of mental energy that you're spending on that first baby. It's just not. Like a lot of things that feel so unnatural that you have to learn how to do with your first, by the time you're at your third, it's just kind of like returning. And I also had all of my kids pretty close together. They're all exactly 2 years apart, so it didn't even feel like all of that strange. But I think just what my advice would be kind of the same as my advice for someone getting started with planning, and that's just like think about what you want to get out of it. Think about what you really need in that moment. It's such a huge new chapter of your life, and so be kind to yourself. Make it simple. Keep track of the things that you need. Save the stickering and the fancy spreads for once you're feeling a little bit more comfortable, and really just like focus on the most basic elements and what you need to function day to day. And then if you are a person that really just like loves journaling or stickering or anything like that, allow yourself to enjoy that in some downtime the same way you would a book or watching TV or anything like that. Okay, next up I have a few questions about some of my favorite things, and the first one here is stickers. I don't think I necessarily have a favorite sticker or sticker brand. I try to shop at a lot of different sticker places and try out a lot of different styles. I was really super into journaling kits for a while and for most of this year, and I still really love those stickers, particularly printed on transparent matte paper. I've kind of come back around at the end of the year to using full vertical kits, and that's been super fun. In terms of shops that are still open, that over my entire lifetime of sticker planning, I most two shopped at shops lifetime and that are both still open, probably Scribble Prints Co. and Hello Petite Paper. Still love both of them, still shop at both of those places. So I haven't actually bought any stickers in a really long time because I have so much in my collection, which I'm gonna just show you my sticker cabinet in just a minute here. But yeah, I would say that those are two of my favorite shops over my lifetime of use. But I try and really mix it up when it comes to stickers and use lots of different things. Same thing, but for washi, where there is most certainly a definite answer here. So what's my favorite washi? It's Simply Gilded. I don't know if I have a favorite specific roll. This year I've really loved like the more scene style rolls. Like here are some down here and everything like that. I definitely am like a mood picker of washi, but Simply Gilded is my favorite. And it's also sticker, journaling, pens, marker brand. Simply Gilded is the place that I've shopped the most this year as well. Next up, I got a question about my favorite sticker organization system. So this is actually my sticker cabinet. It is a cabinet and the door is closed, which I really like because then if it gets a little messy in here, it's okay. It's got 2 shelves and there are my first shelves. These all have foil collections on them. There are some kits there and then character stickers and other icons and things like that. Then on this second shelf here, we've got Simply Gilded kits, more vertical sticker kits, seals, more foil, but with like color backgrounds, functional stickers and kits, a bunch of different sticker books and other things that I'd pulled out to use soon. And then over on the side there, just some more random sticker albums that have like more journaling style kits or old formats of kits like B6 stickers, things like that, that I don't typically use quite as much anymore, aside from the journaling stickers, which I do use a lot. This works well. I don't use as many stickers as I used to. I built this when I was still doing memory stickers, but for the most part, it works well. And I do have a whole video on this. I'll try and link it down in the description below, but it's also on my Start Here playlist and you can see my whole sticker organization system and exactly what's in all of these binders. So another question that I have here is, do I find it easier to track habits and different schedules in one place or in different notebooks and planners? So this is gonna depend on you. A lot of people find it easier to just have everything all in one book. I like to spread out. I like to see a lot of things at once. This is one of my favorite things about having multiple planners. And again, I wouldn't have this many planners if I didn't have a channel, but I would definitely still have more than one planner. But I've pretty much always been a more than one planner. And I usually also have a notebook, especially when I'm working out too. And I like to be able to look at all the different things at the same time. So I will have like my weekly planner, my daily planner, my monthly planner, like kind of all open on my desk. When it comes to schedule though, I do actually end up consolidating that all into one place, whether that's daily or weekly. So I'll have appointments listed out in my monthly planner, but when it gets to be that day, you know what? That's going in my schedule along with the stuff from work that I'm working on, along with channel stuff that I'm working on. When I'm creating that time blocked schedule, everything is going into that. It's just, this is a snapshot of my day. Whereas when I'm planning out what's gonna happen over the course of the month or the week, I'm thinking about those things kind of separately. I do not track habits. I've tried several times this year and I just almost always forget by the end of the week. That being said, I feel like I'm making good progress on my habits, so I haven't put pressure on myself to do that. If a planner has a habit tracker built in, I'll typically write them out. And again, by the end of the week, I've kind of forgotten that they exist. Typically, would want my habit tracker in whatever I'm touching every day. So if that is in my weekly planner, then having that in my weekly planner. If that is in my daily duo, then I'm probably gonna write that out for the day. If it's not like the first page that I'm looking at that day, I'm probably not checking that habits. So the answer is kind of both. I need things in multiple planners and I also need everything all in one place. And on this, I would also think about like, what is the long-term function, right? Like, so this did specifically say notebook. So I have a specific notebook for work where I take notes on all of the different projects that I'm doing. And even though I'm writing that down in the day, I don't necessarily need it right that second. I need it to refer back to. So having one work notebook or a notebook about a specific project makes sense. Likewise, having all of my goals in one place so that I can refer back to them makes sense. But if I'm working on something from my goals, I need that in my snapshot of the day. I try not to do a lot of repetition between the various planners that I'm using, and the repetition that I do in between the various planners is functional repetition. It's a repetition that helps me organize my brain in different ways. So when I'm thinking about what goals I want to accomplish this month, I'm thinking in the Moxie Life areas. But that's not how things actually get accomplished. So I need to then translate that into, I am going to do this specific task on this specific day. For me, having those in separate places works really well. Next up, someone asks, I bought several planners and just realized that a ring planner works best at this time in my life. I'm struggling because I want to use wire or disc bound, and I don't know what I can use them for. Do you use your other planners for anything other than planning when you use a different system? I'm gonna flip this one over to the tabletop view to answer. Do you use those other planners when you use another system? The main point that I wanna make here is really give yourself permission to let go of something that's not working for you. If you're really struggling to figure out how to make a planner work, especially if you already own something different that works better for you, it is okay. I'm not going to use it. And if you don't wanna hang on to it, you don't have to. You can try and sell it in a buy-sell trade group. You can gift it along to someone else and move on and feel comfortable with the system that is working for you. If you really want to try and make it work, or you just really love the idea of a coil planner, you can try and section off one specific life area and try that out in there. Again, this works better if you have a life area that's taking up too much space in your regular planner and starting to kind of erode space from other things that you need to be planning. That is, again, that's what happened to me with content planning for last year. And if you really want to try and use the planner another way, you can, because it is typically a dated product, you can always try out journaling in that planner. And then beyond that, if you do really want to use it for something else that isn't planning, think about the reason that you bought it. So maybe you really liked the layout because you thought it would be fun to sticker in. So try memory keeping in there with stickers. Or maybe you thought like the colorway was really beautiful on it. So grab some pens and washies and use it to do a doodle a day or a little craft project a day. Think about the reason why you gravitated towards that in the one place. Maybe it's because it was a smaller planner and it was bound in one place, and you could try using that as your on-the-go planner. Put it in your bag, see if you grab it while you're out and about to take some notes or to schedule something there, and then transfer it over to your main planner. So it really just depends. I would say definitely focus in on the reason you purchased it and try and find something that honors that. This first one here is about getting bored in your current planner. So if I use the same layout for an extended period of time, do I ever get bored in it? And if I have any suggestions for pushing through that boredom? I think this is a great question. I did used to use the same planner throughout the year, and I have things that I use for the full year. But planner hopping has actually really taught me a lot about this. So the first thing that I want to say is what you should really ask yourself is this working for me? If it's working for you, that's one thing. If it's not working for you, if it's not serving your life, it's not functional anymore, that's a completely different thing. If it's the creativity that you're struggling with, we can address that and we can stay in the same planner and work around that. But if this is not serving your life anymore, maybe you had a big life change or even a series of small ones and what you're using doesn't make sense for your life anymore, then sticking with that same planner is not necessarily going to help you out. So I think that's the first thing, is kind of distinguishing between those two things. Is it still functional? Am I just wanting to mix things up? Or is this not serving me? So if it's not serving me, that's when you might want to grab out that notebook, strategize what types of things you want to plan, and go back to the layout choosing portion of this video. If that's not in your budget, we can rework the system that we're in now to try and craft more spaces. You don't have to use every line of the planner. You don't have to use things the way that it's intended to be used. If you watch my hourly plan with me's ever specifically, you can see a lot of different ways that I've used the same planner, where some week I'm creating like a time block and really using the schedule, and some weeks I'm building in my to-do list right into that hourly spread and using a lot of different stickers and things like that. So you don't have to use the same layout the same every week. And that also leads us back into the creative side. So if you're just feeling like you're in a creative rut with your planner, but overall the functionality still works, the first thing that I would do is strip away all of the decorative elements. Focus on that functional piece. Really outline what are all of the functional components that I need to have in my planner to make this week happen, to make this day happen. And then after that, build back in the creativity in a completely new way. So if you are someone who always uses a ton of stickers, maybe challenge yourself not to use any stickers and to bring in some fun color markers. If you do a lot of pen only spreads, challenge yourself to bring in decorative stickers. Really just take yourself outside of your creative comfort zone. Draw inspiration from the community. So I used to be a sticker memory planner. I love this style of planning and I don't do it anymore. So when I am really feeling in a creative rut with my planners, I like to draw inspiration from that community and from those spreads and bring that into my functional planning, which you may have seen that in a couple of my recent Plan With Me's. I've been doing a lot of that style lately. So using a full box every day when that's not something I typically do in my functional planner. It's just a really fun way to re-inject creativity. I also draw a lot of inspiration from the community, and I find that when I consume a lot of planner content, it does get me really excited to be planning and gives me great new ideas. So that's another thing that might work for you as well. Related to that, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have someone asking, how do you squeeze in making your planner creative and fun? I have a hard time keeping everything together and feel like there's no room for creativity, like using deco stickers in my planner. So I think the answer to that is kind of the same. The functionality has to come first if it's a functional planner. So I like to start with like what I call my core. A lot of times, especially if you see me plan in the Daily Duo, you might notice plan out all of the functional elements first. I'll fill out all of those functional spaces, and then after after that, I will bring in the creative elements. So just adding in a pop of color, a little bit of deco, a little bit of washi. But I do really believe that the planner is a functional first. However, for me, I tend to look at a planner spread more when I like the way that it looks, whether that's because of stickers or good handwriting or fun markers. I find that I check back in with it more when I like the way that it looks. So it's worth it for me to invest that time when I have it to make the spreads look pretty and to be creative with it. Another thing you could do is try running that the opposite way. So if you feel like you have a really good handle on the structural elements of your planning system, on the functionality of it, you could try laying some deco down first and then building your functional elements around that. That might also break you out of a creative rut, but I would only recommend doing this if you feel really like you have a really strong foundation and are really in touch with those functional elements, because otherwise some things might get lost in the mix. And my last big tip on this one is that for the creative and fun, if you don't have a lot of space or a lot of time, what I am going to suggest is just really focusing in on using your best good neat handwriting, whatever that means for you, and bringing in a little bit of marker and color to that, because then you are working within that functional space and it's just going to make it feel a little bit extra special. It's just a little pop of creativity and fun into an existing functional planner space. The next question is how to get past a planner block. Someone who wants to plan, they're ready to plan, but just can't. And I am just going to use my favorite Moxieism for this one. Just begin. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be so hard to sit down and put pen to page sometimes. Just start somewhere. If that's not even on a planner, that's in a to-do list. Pick the most important thing on your list or from your functional thing, whether that's a schedule for the day or a to-do list, and just start with that. Just write it down, build that up, spend 5 minutes or less doing it the first time, reconnect in, just touch that piece of paper and then leave it open and revisit it as you want. Sometimes we just kind of have to force ourselves to start, whether that's with planning or something else. I find it really helpful when I have something like that, whether that's planning or not, is to use a timer and I say, okay, I'm just gonna do this for 5 minutes. I'm just gonna do this for 10 minutes. Whatever it is, to me, like knowing that that buzzer is gonna go off and then I can be done is really, really helpful when I've been avoiding doing something. And that could even apply to planning. And then again, my other tip here would be just to continue to draw inspiration from the community. I always feel really connected to my planners when I'm looking at planner content. If that is you as well, you can always use that for inspiration. And that also ties into our last question, which is how do I stay consistent in my planners and in my planning? Number one key thing for me in that is honoring that a planner system, that my planner is functional first. I love stickers. I love washi. I love markers and pens and decorating things and doodling and all of the things, but we are functional first here. One thing that's really helped me with consistency is having those two core planners, because both of them, you might notice, are planners that are set up once and then you just kind of add to and augment. My monthly calendar gets set at the beginning of the month or at the end of the last month, and then I just kind of add to it as necessary. So I spend in my family organizer, probably about an hour to 90 minutes setting up the structure for the month. And in my goals planner, I spend about 30 minutes to an hour setting my goals for the month. And then the other parts of that planning process on both of those are super, super quick. I'm checking in with my schedule, checking in with my calendar, and spending honestly probably less than 2 minutes a day adding to that planner. And then in my Moxie life, once I have my goals, my weekly actions take me 5 to 10 minutes, and that's all. So having that functional space set up and set aside at a time when I've had the time to touch it, those two things really help me stay consistent in my planning, keeping things open and in a spot where they're visible to make sure that I check back into them. I try and build it into my morning and evening routine to check in with my planners. As I said before, having the spreads look pretty does make me want to revisit those planners more often. I just enjoy looking at them. That also helps with consistency. Having a planner social media channel also really helps me stay consistent. Basically what that means is accountability. Find someone that you can check in with that will check in with you, someone from the community. You can always message me too. I am happy to be anyone's accountability buddy. Those things all help me build consistent, but I think at a certain point this really does start to feel like a true habit, like something that I do every day, something that is just part of my life. So I also have a couple of questions that I got about content and content creation, so I thought I would share those here as well. The first question is about someone wanting to start their own YouTube channel. What advice do I have for a newbie? And what planner do I use for content planning? So Second half of that question, super easy. I use the Laurel Denise planner for content planning. I do actually film monthly. Plan With Me is in there, so you can check that out. I love that planner for content planning, and I know a lot of other content creators that also use that, both within the planner community and outside of the planner community as well. I think it works really, really well as a content planner, and I have the horizontal version of that planner for 2024. In terms of advice for a newbie, I would just say just start. It's really fun to share this. It builds very slowly at first. Getting your channel monetized on YouTube, which takes a certain number of watch hours, which I can't remember how many, and 1,000 subscribers definitely takes time to build up to. But I think if you approach it as a fun hobby and just share your planning, it's still really fun and rewarding in the meantime. And even after that, I find this so fun and conversational and community building. I love getting feedback from all of you. I love seeing all of your comments, and I just really try and enjoy it. You definitely, in content creation in general, do need to have like a little bit of thick skin or kind of develop that. People are not always nice. Now, for the most part, the planner community is wonderful and nice, but especially if you do have anything that goes like a little bit more viral, which I've had like a couple of videos, particularly on TikTok, go viral, and like people will just like comment on different things, sometimes just to be trolls, and sometimes, you know, not even meaning to. I get a lot of random comments about people not liking my voice or things like that, but like, you know, you just kind of have to let stuff like that slide off of you and not take it to heart. There's so many people that obviously enjoy my channel, and I really enjoy making these videos, and I think that's what's most important. My other big tip is, before you make your channel and upload that first video, have a few videos already ready. The biggest thing to building your channel and to like growing on any platform is really consistency. And I know that is advice that like every content creator or content helper gives, but it's so true. And for me, especially for YouTube, where things are a bit longer, especially in the planner community, we're talking about some longer videos, it's really helpful to have like 2 or 3 videos already done when you post that first one. That way you can really have some time to kind of grow into it and make more content without having to worry about, oh my gosh, what am I going to post next? And really just have fun with it and share what you love, because if you are passionate about it, I do think that that really comes through on the channel, and it's going to make people gravitate towards it. Not everyone's going to like my planning style. Not everyone's going to find my stuff helpful, but if I am passionate about what I'm posting and consistent with it, then the people who want to be here are going to find me. Next question, another super straightforward one, is how do I edit my videos? For YouTube, I actually use Adobe Premiere Elements to edit my videos. I have a PC, not a Mac, and that is like a software you can just buy. It's not like a monthly licensing fee, which was more attractive to me, and I am pretty comfortable with it at this point. So I use that to edit. And then for all of my short form content, Reels and TikToks, I mostly use CapCut to edit that, which I think is just a great phone editing platform. I do a little bit use iMovie sometimes, like for making the vlogs and different things like that, where I've been filming on my phone, but for the most part, Adobe Premiere Elements for YouTube and CapCut for everything else. Also, if we're talking Instagram, this wasn't what was asked, but I will say that Snapseed is an absolutely amazing picture editing software that is completely free. That's on your phone as well. So I really do love that as well. And then the last content question I got was specifically about Planmas and when did I actually start planning my videos for Planmas? Did I pre-record them and then just post them, etc.? I did talk about this a little bit on my Laurel Denise Plan With Me video as well, but I had like a batch of initial videos that I recorded, like a lot of my planner reviews that went up, regular monthly content, some different things like that. But I maybe had like, at the beginning of the month, I maybe had like 6 or 7 videos in various stages of production. And then I just kind of kept filming through there. At the beginning, it worked really smoothly, as always, and I was like a few days ahead always of what I was posting. By the end, I was kind of finishing up the videos pretty much the day before they had to air. I feel like that's always what happens with Planmas. 25 is a lot of videos, but it's so much fun. And my other big advice for Planmas is do a mix of different styles of videos and lengths of videos. Like, it was really nice to be able to have the vlogs to pepper in there, which take a little bit shorter to edit and to make, because I'm just kind of filming throughout the day and then smushing it together, versus like a really in-depth plan with me. Like, I can't even tell you how many hours I spent on my goal setting process, right? Like, things like have a mix of things that are quick and a mix of things that take long. So that is all for today. Happy Planmas, happy planning. Don't forget to come back tomorrow. I'll have another fun planner video. You can also subscribe if you haven't already, and check me out on Instagram and TikTok at MyCraftyPlans for even more planner fun. Bye!